Hello, so I see that a lot of participants probably didn't participate to the webinar 0 we had about last week on the 26th of April, so 2 weeks ago. It was an introductive webinar on the R.I.S.To.VET project. And so today we are starting with the first of the 3 webinars, addressing all the topics that are part of the R.I.S.To.VET project. And today we are going to talk, to discuss about tourism today and tourism market needs. So how the touristic market has changed during the last decades. And then we will discuss about sustainable development more in general. But for those who will participate to the second webinar, we will also have the opportunity to go more in depth and to discuss about sustainable tourism in the specific. So I would give the floor to Maria Luisa Giordano from CONET, which is an association based in Palermo. And so Maria Luisa, if you want to say briefly just a few words about your organization. We also discussed about your organization during webinar 0, but there are a lot of newcomers. So I guess it would be a good idea just to say 2 words on your work, and then start discussing about the topics we are going to address today.
Okay, hello everybody, and I am very happy that you decided to join us today. I am trying to share my screen. I'm hoping I will not have the same problems I had 2 weeks ago. CONET is a non-profit organization based in Palermo, as Julia said. We work in particular about local development and in particular linked to tourism and to rural tourism, because our activities are in particular based in rural areas in Sicily. Today I am going to talk to you about the first 2 modules of our training path that we developed in the R.I.S.To.VET project. I am not finding the window. I am very sorry about that, but I will share my whole screen and that will be easier. Just a couple of seconds, please. Okay. So you probably see my screen now, I hope. Okay. Today, so we are going to talk about the introduction to our training path. The interest in talking about the introduction to our training path is mostly that I will going to say a few words about why we decided to focus on our project on sustainable tourism, and how we develop the training path we will present during these webinars from now until the beginning of July. Our project was born basing on a needs assessment, conducted among tourism professionals, first in Italy and then in the other countries of the partnership, and we oh, I'm sorry, my cat. Online courses. I'm very sorry. During the needs assessment, we found that tourist businesses have been experiencing a lot of challenges about contemporary tourism, in particular linked to new form of tourism, because tourists are looking for enjoying authentic realities and live experiences with local inhabitants, and they are often more and more engaged in sustainable practices. Nevertheless, professional education is not often adapted to these new forms of tourism, and we found a lack of adaptation, lack of information among tourism vet providers about these new forms of tourism. That is the reason why we found a lot of non-structured professional practices arising all over Europe. So we decided to develop a training path basing on these new forms of tourism and drawing on these non-structured practices that have been developed all over Europe and that are anyway very interesting, and that have knowledge we think it's very interesting to develop and to share. So the project, as we already discussed during the first webinar, is based on 4 different intellectual outputs. First of all, we developed a desk and field research in order to analyze existing data, existing information about tourism, as well as the needs of educational institutions, and in particular vet providers all over the partnership countries. Then we, basing on this information, basing on the new forms of hospitality that we analyzed all over Europe, we developed a training path and a piloting process. This training path has been adapted for any learning platform, and that was the intellectual output number 3, and now we are developing the intellectual output number 4, and we are organizing these webinars. The guidebook we developed and the e-learning platform will be available on the project website in English and in the national languages of the partnership. Before going on talking more in depth about the contemporary tourism, I prepared a Padlet because I would like to ask the participants how they define tourism, how they think that tourism can be defined. I will paste the link in the chat, and I will give you just a few minutes to share with us your own definition, your own thoughts, your own reflection on what tourism is. I think we can take, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes for that.
Maria Luisa, if you want, you can share your screen with the Padlet window so that we can all see how it is going to be developed.
We already had nice discussion about that during the webinar 2 weeks ago, but as we have new participants today, I think that that could be a nice starting point also today. I think that what Galilaya, I hope I'm pronouncing your name well, what Galilaya said is very interesting, and you are going, you are already going much farther in what we are going to talk about today and during the next webinar in 2 weeks. I agree with you for sure. We will talk about that later on and in 2 weeks. So we have learning different pathways for thoughts, eating new stuff, meeting other people and cultures, discovering a new culture, discovering people, an opportunity to become more open-minded by exploring different cultures, discovering beautiful nature, discovering people, and experience new things, people, lifestyles, and others. I will leave the Padlet for a few seconds more, but I will also start to say a few things about the history of tourism. Actually, this is what we are writing on the Padlet today is what we mean for tourism in the 21st century. But the most agreed definition of tourism is, first of all, just traveling for leisure. Traveling became a leisure in not a long time ago, actually. I will go back to my presentation because until the 18th century, traveling. Just a second, please. Okay. Until the 18th century, traveling has been okay. Until the 18th century or the 17th century, traveling has been something very expensive and dangerous for most of people. Only very wealthy people had the possibility of traveling for leisure in a safe way. What we call pre-modern tourism is what is commonly known as the Grand Tour experience that youngsters from high European society used to do in order to discover other countries of Europe, in particular Mediterranean Europe. The Grand Tours were in particular educational journeys and educational journeys, yes, for youngsters of the highest society. Nevertheless, in the 19th century, traveling for education spread among the middle class, and that marked an important step for the development of modern tourism, because experiencing other cultures became more and more common also among the middle class youngsters. What we call modern tourism is include the first experiences of mass tourism that became possible because of the increasing availability of transportation, in particular in railways and steam navigation all over Europe. That made possible the mobility of tourists, and on the other hand, reduce the cost of traveling. Traveling became so an answer to the increasing problems linked to the industrialization and urbanization, because people started to travel, looking for countries, looking for better environments to experience, even for short periods. After the Second World War, what we today call mass tourism started to develop and to spread all over at least all over the Western world. The economic possibilities and the availability of transportation, the technological progress of transportation, as well as the increase of leisure time because of the reduction of the shortening of working hours, made possible that people started to traveling more and more. That is why we start to see the development of organized group travel in France, Austria, and Germany, and Switzerland at the very beginning, and then all over Europe. And that is also the moment when traveling abroad became more and more common. During the 1960s, mass tourism was pushed by tour operators offering always cheaper solutions, and also introducing new destinations and holiday models, and holiday models. That is why tourism infrastructures started to shape also the landscape and the economies of travel destination, of travel destinations that were little by little converted to tourist resorts as we know them today. Think about the alpine villages in Europe, or some maritime areas in the Mediterranean. This is also the moment when the club holidays started to develop and to become very, very common, together also with theme parks. If we go on in the history, from the 2000s to today, air transportation and the internet sale of tourism air transportations, and in particular the development of low-cost airlines made possible the another step of tourism industry, because tourism is an increasingly mass phenomenon on the one hand, but on the other hand, we have an increasing demand for tailor-made solutions, and tourists also have a wide range of budgets and tastes and needs. The diffusion of sharing economy, moreover, gives travelers the possibility to experience cheaper holidays and tailor-made solutions, and sometimes also traveling almost for free. Think about couch surfing, for instance, or also to the development of free tour systems. At the same time, the attention for the environment started to increase, and that is why we arrived to sustainable tourism. For developing this, the training path of this project, we found our own definition of what we call local-based sustainable tourism 4.0. We are going to see what is local sustainable tourism 4.0 next week in particular, and also during the last webinar in 4 weeks. Nevertheless, the idea of sustainability refers to the promotion of activities focused on education, protection, and conservation of nature and the environment. Local-based refers to the focus on local heritage, as well as to the possibility of economic growth for the areas where tourism businesses is based. And 4.0 refers to the self-efficiency and new digitization tools that let tourist businesses analyze data and promote activities through social media. So this is more or less, a wider framework to place our training path. Now I am going to tell you a few words about the idea of sustainable development before introducing the link between tourism and sustainable development. As the concept of sustainable development is quite complex, I will again propose you the use of a Padlet in order to share among us our ideas of what sustainability is. I am going to paste another link on the chat, and I will ask you again to contribute, giving your own idea what sustainability is. We will take again a few minutes for that.
Thank you, Maria Luisa, for providing Padlets, since they make things more interactive, more involving, let's say.
Yeah. Moreover, when we imagined this project, that was the pre-COVID era, and I mean, the idea of webinar was interesting, a way to exchange knowledge, exchange experiences, and that was not something that we do every day of our life.
Yes, because for those who were not at the webinar zero on the 26th of April, we told that the R.I.S.To.VET project started in 2019. So 1 year before the pandemic started. It is beautiful, the sentence, what is sustainability? Understanding how to make the economy not destroy us. But also the way environment, economy, and society can work together.
Yes, it's always very interesting. So we have make rich people less rich, care forward, care about yourself, ecology, the way environment, economy, and society can work together. Sustainability is the key for today's world. We all should live our life in a sustainable way. Development without destruction, understanding how to make the economy not destroy us, raising awareness through new experiences when we circulate energy and resources. The reason why I asked you to contribute to this definition is that sustainability nowadays is quite an old concept. It has history because the concept of sustainability started to be developed in the 1970s when the increasing dissatisfaction towards the traditional development models began to spread all over the world. People started to think about development not necessarily in terms of growth and in terms of economy growing, and the idea of the three pillars of sustainability was developed. So sustainability actually is a new development paradigm according to which three dimensions of development have to be satisfied and harmonized to reach a real and complete and balanced development. The three dimensions are economy, environment, and society. We can only have sustainability if these three dimensions are integrated among us. As I said, so yeah, the three dimensions have to coexist in terms of ecosystem integrity, efficiency and prosperity of the economy and social equity. Nevertheless, as I said, sustainability have a quite long history nowadays. The United Nations General Assembly in 2015 approved what we probably all know, that is Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. That the Agenda 2030 proposes a wider and more complex idea of sustainability, defining these 17 goals that are defined by 169 targets and measured by 231 indicators. That means that sustainability needs to be analyzed more in depth. It's not that easy as saying balancing between economy, environment, and society. There is an effort for finding or to go more in depth in finding the right path to sustainability. That is why the 17 development goals goes together with the new paradigm. That is the 5 P's paradigm. In origin, we had actually 3 P's: people, planet, and profit. Today, we have 5 P's: people, prosperity, planet, peace, and partnership. So we have prosperity instead of poverty, of profit, and the UN Assembly added peace and partnership, because only collaboration between states and businesses can actually achieve the goals of sustainable development. The picture I am showing now shows how the 5 P's needs to be integrated among them. So this is more in general what sustainability is for the United Nations, what each country should do and should do for reaching sustainability. But what is what is the link with tourism? How we can find a connection among general policies and the small businesses development? That is what the project is focused on. We should focus on how to becoming SDG fit, how we can apply the framework of the Sustainable Development Goals, the framework of sustainability to our own practices, to our own business development, in particular when we are talking about very small businesses in the framework of of tourism. The most important thing is that we should analyze we should analyze why we really would like to focus on sustainability, why the small business we are going to develop has this purpose to focus on sustainability, and or more in general, why we are going to develop this business, and more in particular why we are going to focus on sustainability. Because if we focus on why, we can think about what is the socially relevant contribution that our small business can make to society and to the planet, and to a fair and healthy economy. The image the picture I am showing now shows 4 steps. The step number 1 is develop, which means clearly state who the actors are in this process, and how they are involved in the process. Because you have to ensure the development of knowledge, understanding, commitment, and creation around the project you are going to develop. Step number 2, integrate. That means how and where sustainability is integrated in the work, in the processes of your organization, and how it is communicated internally and externally. Number 3, achieve. That means which are the dimensions, which are the dimensions you want to focus on, and what results you are really going to achieve in this framework. Step number 4, measure, which means that that we really need to monitor and measure step by step the quality of the work. It is also a matter of impact assessment, obviously, that we are going to see more in depth in 2 weeks, and in general to measure and to assess in each step the process of developing a new business. Going to tourism. As we said, sustainability is quite a big challenge, and it's a complex dimension. So how we can really apply the concept of sustainability to tourism. That will be the topic of the next webinar in 2 weeks. Nevertheless, I will say just a few words in the few minutes we have today for introducing the concept of regeneration. Regeneration is an idea that in the last few years have been really spreading, in particular in the in the field of tourism, because the idea is that sustainability is not enough anymore for tourist businesses. As Stafford says, sustainability focuses on doing less harm, and it's not enough when we are it's not enough when we are talking about tourism. Having not harmful businesses is not enough anymore, and the idea is that the future lies in regeneration, which means, I read his words, seeking to restore and replenish what we have lost to build economies and communities that thrive and that allow the planet to thrive too. What does it mean? Next week, we will see more in depth how we can assess the environmental impact of a tourism business. At the same time, we will analyze a little bit, we don't really have a lot of time. Nevertheless, we are going to say a few words about how about the level of the environmental impact in tourism businesses in the last 4 or 5 decades. As I said at the very beginning, mass tourism had a huge impact also on not only on ecosystems but also on landscapes, and I think that everybody of us have already experienced that. As Galilea said at the very beginning, sometimes we are not able to think about tourism as something good without the idea of sustainability, and that is why tourism had a huge impact on ecosystems and landscapes in the last 4 or 5 decades. That is why sustainability is not enough anymore. That is why avoiding harm is not enough. We need to regenerate, we need to restore and replenish what we have lost. That is the idea behind regeneration and regenerative tourism. The idea is contributing to self-sufficient and balanced systems in the places where we develop tourist business, because regeneration has because if sustainability seeks to sustain, regeneration needs also to restore, renew, and nurture. It's not about having a neutral impact, as the idea of sustainability focuses on. The idea is improving the system, improving the landscapes and the ecosystem where we are going to act, where we are going to develop a tourist business. And so to move from scarcity to abundance, and not in terms of consuming, is the idea is overcoming poverty without using resources in a way that have a higher impact, but using resources in a way that could continue and create positive life conditions for local people and for future generations. that is more or less the idea of sustainable tourism. I think that it's a little bit late, so I would like to stop here and just asking if you have any comment or question, or we can in the few minutes we already have, we can maybe talk a little bit about the topics I tried to introduce. I don't know if there is someone that would like to say something or to ask or just to comment about.
Yes, in the meanwhile, I would tell all the participants that I'm going to send a link on the meeting chat, and I would like to ask you to fill in this questionnaire, which is an evaluation questionnaire for the webinar. So please feel free to express your opinion. It would take just a few minutes, also less. It is very short, so please, if you could participate to the survey, it would help us improve and also evaluate the quality of this output, so the organization of these webinars. Also, thank you, Maria Luisa, for providing this long overview on sustainability and on the changes that have affected the touristic market. It wasn't simple because there is a lot to say, but thank you.
A lot to say in a short time. That is the main challenge.
Yes, these are wide topics, and I think that you provided a nice overview on the focal points, and then during the second and the third webinar, we will have the opportunity to integrate all the notions that we have learned today and that we have discussed today. We can integrate them with other topics, and as you said before, as you mentioned before, also on the second webinar, we're going to address sustainability in tourism. So we will have also an overview on the application of sustainable development goals, for example, or good practices in sustainability and specifically in the touristic field.
Yes, also because sustainable, I mean, we have several definitions of sustainable tourism and several approaches to sustainable tourism. Next, we introducing the idea of sustainability, introducing also a little bit the history of this concept was necessary in order to understand the different approaches to sustainable tourism and how and why we can apply this concept differently.
Also, I'm very happy for the participation of all these people today. So thank you for your interest, and I would like to meet you also during the next webinars. So the agenda for next webinars, it's quite it's quite full of activities, and for example, we will have a second webinar on the 24th of May. You will receive an email containing the link to join the meeting. And the second webinar will be held at 4 p.m. set time. and we will discuss about sustainable tourism, and then authenticity, tourism image and promotion. And with regard to sustainable tourism, CONET and Via Via Tourism Academy will present topics addressing the sustainability in the touristic field. Then we will have our Polish partner discussing about authenticity, tourism image and promotion. And then we will just have a short overview on the topics addressed by the third webinar, which will be the last one. So we're trying through the webinars to provide all the knowledge we have created and shared. Also, we would like to share it with you, and also to stimulate discussion about these topics, which are hot topics, let's say, and also to raise awareness on the importance of the concept of sustainability, on the application of sustainability in tourism, both in an environmental but also economic and social perspective. So if there, I don't know, is there any question? Okay, so I guess that we can leave the webinar now. So if you like this webinar, please follow us during the second one on the 24th. And well, have a nice evening, and please fill the questionnaire, because your opinion is crucial for us, and we need your opinion to improve project activities and also to evaluate the quality of webinars. So thank you in advance, and have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us for this webinar, and as Julia already said, I really hope to see you again in 2 weeks.
I didn't succeed in writing the questionnaire. I had difficulties for the questionnaire.
You cannot enter the questionnaire?
No.
Please?
I'll try again. Okay.
I'm sending it again. Okay, I'm ending the meeting. Bye-bye. Have a nice evening.
Bye.
And see you on the 24th. Thank you.